coronavirus surge in the country has continued unabated. As community spread of the virus is reaching its peak, many individuals have contracted the virus, even as the number of tests have not reached a desired level due to exorbitant test fees. According to the health experts, the current scenario does not augur well for the countrymen, especially with the onset of the winter season. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang, and these are the headlines of the hour. The coronavirus death toll climbs to 1,361 with 24 more deaths. Government fails to implement Supreme Court's order to provide cost-free COVID-19 test and treatment. Executive figures continue to hold informal diplomatic meetings flouting foreign policy protocol. Experts warn the breach as weakening Nepal's diplomatic position. Thailand revives a controversial law against criticizing the royal family in an attempt to clamp down on months of anti-government protests. And Chelsea, Sevilla, Barcelona and Juventus advanced to the knockout round of the Champions League with clinical victories. The number of coronavirus cases so far in the country has reached 224,078 as 1,719 new cases were confirmed in the country yesterday. The death toll has climbed to 1,361 with 24 more deaths. The total number of tests through the PCR method has crossed over 1.68 million with 10,843 swab samples tested yesterday. The federal capital reported 947 positive cases with 692 new cases in Kathmandu district, 190 in Lalitpur and 65 in Bhaktapur. 2,791 individuals registered full recovery yesterday, taking the national recovery tally to 204,858, while the recovery rate has climbed to 91%. There are over 17,000 active cases in the country with 6,518 corona patients in isolation centers, 11,341 in home isolation and 627 in various quarantine centers. According to the Health Ministry, 57 patients are receiving treatment with ventilator support, while 393 are in intensive cares across different hospitals in the country. The government has been charging public for coronavirus tests and treatment, citing various pretexts despite the Supreme Court's order to provide free treatment. The number of daily tests have declined in recent days, as what experts say is a result of exorbitant test fees. The government initially had set the fee for COVID-19 test at 5,500 rupees, which was reviewed to 4,400 rupees. The rate has now been reduced to 2,000 rupees, which experts say is still expensive, as states in neighboring India have been providing the same services for less than 1,000 rupees. While the exorbitant pricing in early days could be considered justified given the scarcity of testing kits and equipment around the world, the easy availability in recent time has raised a question on the rates that have not changed in more than 2 months' time. The country's apex court had ordered the government to ensure free test and treatment of COVID-19. However, the government has yet to implement. Several government hospitals and laboratories have been providing free services. However, the general public have complained of complicated processes. Many members of the public, as a result, have avoided tests at all despite having symptoms of COVID-19. Health experts say the scenario has increased the risk of elderly being affected more in the winter season and risking their lives when they reach the hospital only in critical condition, and have urged the government to act upon it at the earliest. Sanjay Neopane, who was injured with gunshots fired by police in yesterday's demonstrations in Mahotari, Bardibas, succumbed to his injuries late last night. At least 3 demonstrators who were protesting against the rape and killing of a minor girl were injured yesterday in police firing. The demonstrators were protesting against the rape and killing of a 6-year-old girl in Bardibas, Mahotari. Three local youths, Sanjay Nupani, Aftab Alam and Shyam Karki, were injured with gunshots fired by police, while Sanjay Nupani was later flown to the capital's Grandi hospital for further treatment. The 6-year-old Gulab Shah Khatun, daughter of Shahid Alam, had gone missing since Sunday. Her body was later found dumped in a bag on Monday night. The police have informed that a 25-year-old local Arun Kumar Shah has confessed to raping and killing the girl. Outraged locals set ablaze Shah's house yesterday morning, while the locals had been protesting the whole day yesterday by blocking the east-west highway. Executive figures of the country, including the Prime Minister himself, have faced stern criticisms as of late for holding discussions with foreign figures without involving the Foreign Ministry as required by the state's protocol. Experts have opined this would weaken the country's diplomatic position in the international arena. We have more in this report.
On Monday this week, the executive chairman of ruling Nepal Communist Party held a discussion with the Chinese ambassador to Nepal, Ho Yangqi. The meeting was held in Dahal's own residence in Kumaltar. However, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it was unaware of the meeting. The ministry was also blindsided on the agenda of the meeting. Dahal, who has led the government twice, did not deem it necessary to inform the authorities. The Chinese ambassador also held a meeting with Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli on 17th this month at the Prime Minister's official residence in Baluatar. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs was not informed of the meeting either. It may be recalled that the Prime Minister had also held a meeting with Chief of Indian Intelligence Agency RAW without informing any authority last month. The Premier met with widespread criticism for breaching the state's code of conduct, based on which any meeting involving foreign parties should include a representative from the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
भारत र चीनको बीचमा रहेको र अत्यन्त सामरिक महत्त्व र सेन्सिटिभ अवस्था भएको देश भएको हुनाले र फेरि बाह्य शक्तिहरूको पनि अब अहिलेको अवस्थामा त झन् बढी चलखेल भएको र अब हाम्रो इतिहास पनि बाहिरका मुलुकहरूको चलखेलको चाहिँ केन्द्र भएको र कतिपय इतिहासका घटनाहरूले पनि देखाएको हुनाले मलाई लाग्छ त्यो चाहिँ अलिकति नकारात्मक प्रभाव पर्न सक्छ। त्यो संस्कार र त्यो एउटा कल्चर हाम्रो डिप्लोमेसीमा चाहिँ हाम्रो परराष्ट्र मार्फत अथवा परराष्ट्रको प्रतिनिधि राखेर भेट्ने गर्ने संस्कार हामीले विकास गर्न सक्यौं भने मुलुकलाई चाहिँ फाइदा बढ्ता हुन्छ।
For meetings that involve ambassadors and diplomatic representatives from other nations, the state's code of conduct requires for the presence of a ministry official and a record of the meeting. However, the executive figures of the state have failed to abide by the rule.
अब पार्टी अन्तर पार्टी जुन दलभित्र हुने जुन खालका संकटहरू हुन् जुन मतभेदहरू हुन् त्यसकोमा समेत विदेशीहरूको सहभागिता हुने अथवा यहाँ हुने राजनीतिक उतार चढावमा विदेशीहरूको चलखेल हुने अथवा यहाँ हुने प्रोजेक्ट प्लान प्रोग्राम्सहरूमा चाहिँ विदेशीहरूको घुसपैठ हुने अथवा त्यो पोलिसीलाई नै एक खालको प्रभावित गर्ने गरी चाहिँ पोलिसी लेभलमा इंगेज भएका मान्छेहरूलाई विदेशीले जहाँ जति बेला जसरी पनि भेट्ने त्यो स्थितिले गर्दाखेरि हामीले हाम्रो राष्ट्रको सुरक्षादेखि लिएर हाम्रो विकासदेखि लिएर हाम्रो नीति निर्माणदेखि लिएर हामीले गर्ने हरेक क्रियाकलाप हामीले गर्ने हरेक काम कारबाहीमा चाहिँ विदेशीको प्रभाव पर्ने स्थिति हुन्छ।
Critics have opined the recent meetings that breached the code of conduct has weakened Nepal's diplomatic stand in the international arena. In order to break the unwanted foreign intervention in state affairs, there is a call for those in authority to strictly abide by their code of conducts.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Bara district, why has the government failed to work as per the public's interest? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
Corruption corruption कारणले सबै सरकारहरुमा के भइरहेछ त्यहाँ फन्डिङ जति आइरहेछ सब आफ्नै खल्ती भर्न खोजिरहेका छन्।
जुन जोगी आए पनि कानै चिरेको भनेको जस्तै जुनै पनि सरकार आए पनि आफ्नै स्वार्थ पूर्तिका लागि आफ्नो परिवारको लागि आफ्नो नातेदारहरुको लागि र आफ्नै खानदानहरुको लागि मात्रै काम गर्नुपर्ने।
बहुमतको कुनै कदरै छैन। जनताको के चाहियो के चाहेन कस्तो विकास हुनु पर्यो त्यसलाई केही थाहा छैन।
यो सरकारले त आफ्नो कुर्सीको चलखेलमा परेको छ, जनताको आशा निराश भइरहेछ। जनताले सोचेको काम एउटा पनि गरेका छैन।
व्यक्तिगत उनीहरूलाई केही कुराहरूको सेवा सुविधा भयो भने एकै लाइनमा एकै शब्दमा सबैजनाले संसद भवनमा टक्क के भन्छ भने ताली बजाएर ताली पड्काएर पास गर्ने र जनताको अनुभूतिको जनताको विकासको कुराहरू देशको विकासको कुराहरू भयो भने एकअर्काले खुट्टा तान्ने एकअर्काले के भन्छ भने दोषारोपण गर्ने
पार्टीगत विवाद त्यसपछि तपाईको गाउँमा पावर जसको लाठी उसैको भैँस यस्तै यस्तो गर्नले गर्दा हाम्रो जनहितका कुराहरू सरकारले गर्न सकेको छैन।
And time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What's your take on the government's failure to implement recommendations made by its own commissions and committees? Your options: option A, recommendations against their own interest; option B, limited to formality; option C, impractical recommendations. The voting is on. Type NEWS. Select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for the sports update. Chelsea, Sevilla, Barcelona and Juventus have advanced to the knockout round of the Champions League. Chelsea chalked out a 2-1 win over Rennes playing away from home. Chelsea took the lead in the 22nd minute with a goal by Callum Hudson. Sehu Gihasi equalised in the 85th minute for Rennes, piling pressure on Chelsea, who found the decisive goal in the injury time scored by Oliver Giroud. The win has propelled Chelsea to the pre-quarter-final with 2 matches still remaining. Likewise, Sevilla registered an identical 2-1 win over Krasnodar. Sevilla opened their scoring in the 4th minute against the visiting Krasnodar. Sosa Campos equalised for Krasnodar in the 56th minute, while Sevilla snatched the win in the injury time with a goal by Munir Al-Haddadi. In another match, Barcelona hammered Dynamo Kyiv 4-0 playing away from home. Barcelona, playing without Lionel Messi, scored all the 4 goals in the second half. The goal scorers were Sergio Dest in the 52nd minute, a brace by Martin Braithwaite and Antoine Griezmann, who scored from the spot kick. Likewise, Juventus registered a 2-1 win over Ferencváros to seal a spot in the last 16. And before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Coronavirus death toll climbs to 1,361 with 24 more deaths. Government fails to implement Supreme Court's order to provide cost-free COVID-19 test and treatment. Executive figures continue to hold informal diplomatic meetings flouting foreign policy protocol. Experts warn the breach is weakening Nepal's diplomatic position. Thailand revives a controversial law against criticizing the royal family in an attempt to clamp down on months of anti-government protests. And Chelsea, Sevilla, Barcelona and Juventus advanced to the knockout round of the Champions League with clinical victories. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.